Did they take their
Right,
money off the platform?
right. But
What do you think?
the metrics that I ran was at 100,000. Like
Okay,
that was my bear case.
but 100,000 people get the card. How many of them use it as their bank?
I mean,
So
yeah, but Voltron, the point that I was making is that all they would have to do is accumulate $50 worth of rewards from the whole VLP per month. Like that's just 1 month's time. $50
understandable. Yeah, I
at a
mean,
10-cent token. Now
again,
let's say it doesn't go to 10 cents. Let's just say it stays where it's at right now or goes up.
yeah,
You still, like, once again, you still don't have a long tailwind on this. We're talking about a maximum 3 to 4 months in Voyager's buying on the open market.
correct. But again, we're talking a lot of hypotheticals too, and I understand where you're coming from. I'll play along with it, but is it possible? Sure. Is it probable? No. I just don't think that if, again, we go into a point where we are functioning very well again, that's great. The big thing that it all comes down to is this: where is Voyager getting the money from? Because what's the damage to their balance sheet that this whole thing's going to cost them on their balance sheet? They've already lost basically over the last week. You can say not lost. I want to say their balance sheet's down about $100 million in the past 2 months since the end of last quarter. So they only had I think 130 million that they announced last week or whatever, or Monday I think, that they had 130 million in their balance sheet. What more damage is going to come from this liquidity crunch? How much are they going to be able to get back from that standpoint? Because again, they're offsetting customer withdrawals. Maybe they'll be able to take some more out from the Alameda to add to their balance sheet, of course. They can fund this, but they don't have much leeway here, because they really only took out the Alameda credit that they needed to kind of fund those coins from those lost assets, and there's a little bit of leeway there. I mean, they had 100 million, 100. Well, what did they say? 125 million. No, what was it? No, 225 million was the end of last quarter they had on their balance sheet, and now they're down to 130 million on their balance sheet. So they've lost that, or it's off their balance sheet. Now again, does it lost? You understand what I'm saying? It's like they've used some of these funds, and by all means, they should do this to offset some of the people that are taking money off the platform. Okay, and yeah, there's some loans coming back, and we're waiting for those to come back onto their balance sheet, so then they can use those assets to offset the people that are withdrawing money and coming off the platform. But I mean, what is Voyager's current? I'd like to know, what does Voyager's current funded accounts look like right this second? What is that number? We were at 1.3 million. Is that number 900,000? Is that number? What is that number? I don't know. That's something that's kind of like, how many people are they losing out of this? And then going forward, the biggest question is going to be, where did they get capital from? If the business is not profitable, where are they getting capital to run the business? Okay, we got this line of credit, but that line of credit is only there to replace people's, again, if you read into it, it's only there to replace the assets that were lost from the 3AC issue. So we can't use that to buy tokens off the open market. You know what I'm saying? You can't use that for general business expenses of the company. So that's only there for that. So really, it left them with 200. I don't know. I mean, did they have $190 million? I mean, what would they have? What does their actual balance sheet look like in terms of cash and crypto assets on hand on their balance sheet, like that they physically have to use for the company? That's what I'm wondering, because that number is going to go down, and then so the survivability of Voyager without anybody coming in and buying them or taking them over depends on how much they can raise. And that's why you're seeing Voyager stock at 35 cents or whatever it is. That's why you're seeing the token down so much, because they don't believe, again, the token's worthless without Voyager the company, correct? So if the Voyager company goes out of business and they're bankrupt, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm just saying the possibility of this happening, and the Voyager token is worthless. If Voyager can come out of this and say, get out of this liquidity crunch, come up with a plan saying, hey, this is our what we're doing. Steve said at the end of March that they had enough money to run their company through the end of next year, through into 2023. But obviously, this 3AC thing changed things because again, they had to put $100 million they're going to have to offset with their balance sheet. So if you just ran those numbers, you have about $130 million in your balance sheet. That's probably going to put them, and who knows what other costs are incurred from this issue. And now you're going to have to also pay 5% interest on your money taking from 3AC or from Alameda for the 3AC issue. So you're losing money quickly. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out where you're going to do capital raise to generate money to run your business. And the business, you just can't run it in debt, right? I mean, there's got to be, you have to raise it. I mean, there's different, being a public company, they can raise it through bonds. They can, they can issue more stock. Again, being the stock being at where it's at, though, it's going to have to be a lot of shares to issue, like just get $5 million or $10 million added to your balance sheet. And then how long is that going to last for? They could sell Coinify. That's another option that they would have to sell that asset that they have. I mean, they don't really have that many more hard assets that they can really truly sell. So that's the problem here. It's how are we going to get that money to run the business? But yes, they may have to lay off people to cut costs. Obviously, we want to cut costs. And they've already said they're trying to cut costs. At last conference call, they were cutting costs. Layoffs. Keep the business lean. And I think that's why Mo Ellis is here too, is to try to figure out how they can navigate these waters and what assets they have that can be shed for money and capital to continue the company going. And then also, if there's anybody else that would like to come in and maybe, either add capital to the company for whatever, for shares or a portion of the company or something like that. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is where is the resources that they have to make it through this. Now, if crypto makes a turn and, Bitcoin goes to 40K, 60K, hit new all-time highs, that's going to be a boon to make them go through, to get through this. But when you actually think about it, though, step back, take a big picture view of this. This could actually harm them, though, because they lost 15,000 Bitcoin, these assets in 3AC's hands, right? And they have to pay back that 15,000 Bitcoin. And when they take it out, I mean, it's at right now 20,000. But if Bitcoin goes to 60,000, all of a sudden that $600 million loss is now whatever, $900 million loss, or $1 billion loss. So now they have to repay those. Still, they have to repay those assets that they borrowed. So again, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, it's a boom because they're going to make some money. They still have to offset this credit line that they have. So yeah, I mean, and the credit line the bill is due at the end of 2024. So we have 2.5 years to make up this loss. Now, this asset loss, and the company has to turn profit, and they think they've only had 2 quarters in the past year and a half where they actually had any profit on their books. So it's an uphill road for sure. I mean, I want to hear what he has to say about this, and this is what I'm saying. Where does he think they're going to be able to get the capital to continue to run the company in, I don't know, 8 months from now or 12 months from now, or in that time frame? Because I think that's when you're looking at, I don't know what their burn rate is going to be, how much money that they're planning on burning in terms of just cost of running the business. But I mean, they have to really, I mean, again, this is why I think it's so uncertain right now. That's why I think they're all reevaluating things, because they got to figure this out, and these are not easy questions to answer. And we can sit here and debate and talk and speculate, but we don't have the answers. And I mean, we're just throwing stuff out there, saying, just like they're probably throwing stuff out there. So I'm not too worried about the VGX token per se, because I'm worried about the company's survivability. And, and I do think it can survive this liquidity crunch. That's not going to be an issue. I do think funds are safe. But in 6 months from now, when or 12 months from now, when their balance sheet is running out of money, where do they get the money from? That's my going concern. And I think that's why people are like, well, Voyager's going to go bankrupt because they can't get money and they're not profitable. So they would be right, and they have their mindset can definitely be that. But I think I wouldn't underestimate the team to figure this out and to change the structure up a little bit, and figure this out so that they could continue to survive. And if they can't still pay that bill at the end of 2024, then they could restructure it. I'm sure Alameda would let them restructure that loan. But again, they still have to pay that that 5% on that loan. So that's not 5% on 500 million. If they take the entire credit line out, I mean, that's what, $25 million a year. So that's still, they have to find this money somehow. And unless someone's got 15,000 in Bitcoin they want to lend them, that would really help them out, or just give them. Anyone? All right. So yeah, just my thoughts, Big T.
Yeah, no, I agree. But this is also like the point of me saying this is like, once again, the value accrual mechanism is different, right? So obviously the business has to function. I get that. I get that 100%. I'm just saying, like, the value accrual mechanism. That's the only point I was trying to make. Is totally different.
I agree. But I think if the business is functioning, the VGX token price is much higher.
Oh, I agree.
Obviously,
no doubt about
again, you wouldn't have to worry about it being 10 cents or 15 cents or 20 cents. It would be $1 or 80 cents, or
right.
where it was at.
Right.
Right where was that
just to
before
be
the
clear,
3AC
I don't think that that's going to happen. The whole reason I brought that up is because I was talking to Peter earlier today on Twitter, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that VGX is going to go sub 10 cents." I'm like, "Sub 10 cents? Holy shit!" If that happened, I just broke out the numbers. I was like, "This shit would be insane." Like, I just don't see how that could happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I don't see the same structure that we have right now, and then that runs into a whole nother layer of fuckery for the token holders. Because then at what point do you say, hey, we got to shift things around, we got to reduce the rates on the debit card, we got to, what I'm saying? Like, this is just all hypothetical. I'm just walking myself through this, so I'm not trying to play the bear. I'm just trying, once again, I'm just trying to walk myself through what this looks like from obviously a platform standpoint, a company standpoint, to a token standpoint, and how this will all play off of each other long term. Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff that you have to take a look at, and market conditions is definitely one of them, and how it's going to affect everything. It would be just again, it's just a big mess. This whole big maybe UST gets up to $1 again and regains peg, and 3AC has money, and they pay back all their liabilities, and we don't have to worry about it. How about that as a hypothetical?
Well, right. And
Damn.
I think right, and I think the other side of that too, and you've mentioned this plenty of times, and Eddie, we'll get to you in just one second, is the fact that Three Arrows Capital, they have all these different assets. Whatever they need to do to pay back portions of this, what percentage of that's going to come back to Voyager? That's a huge boost for them if they get anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't give a fuck if it's a McDouble. At least the team doesn't have to go out and buy that.
Yep. Yeah, but the
but
thing is, it's going to take a while for that to happen. I think that's going to go through the legal system. Nothing is ever fast in the legal system. I wish like here, if they were in America, like whatever, the FBI or something would be raiding their headquarters and be grabbing their computers and everything, like they did with like Bernie Madoff and stuff. And who's tracking down these people and the heads of 3AC? Obviously they've committed fraud and they've committed significant crimes, and who's policing this? Where are they in jail yet? I mean, where are they? Where are these people at? No one's talked about that. Like, where are these people at? Why aren't they being arrested, and why isn't someone looking into this? Because it seems like these crimes are pretty obvious, and then you can say, okay, well, they have this amount of assets, and okay, well, who do they owe money to, and then where are the liabilities at, and then they can start saying, okay, we have this amount of money, and then it has to go through the court system, and then it gets divvied out from there. So, again, there's nothing being said like, oh, they're still out there, they're still enjoying their $50 million yacht or whatever they have, and they're not in jail. So these people have ruined a lot of people's lives, and literally have taken down multiple different businesses in crypto, and again, and it's severely affected others, aka Voyager. So where are these people at right now, and why aren't they facing some consequences? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey, what's up? Good evening. I don't know if you guys already talked about it, but what do you think about 3AC's grayscale value? Like, what if the grayscale launches and that's $1.3 billion they said they have? So, I mean, because now it goes to a court ruling when they default, correct?
Voltron would know better than me.
Yeah, the courts would have to take that, divvy up whatever assets they have, and then give that out to their, where their liabilities lie. They have to divide. Again, usually it's like, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not in this, but obviously, there's certain people get first dibs, and then it goes down from there. But I mean, obviously, it depends on what their assets are, and then what their liabilities are. But Voyager should get something. If it's a McDouble, it's a McDouble. But they're going to get something. We don't know. Maybe they will get $200 million back. That'd be great. But I think it's going to take a lot more than next week or next month. It's going to take, a year or maybe even more to get that.
So
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, getting, what if, again, the grayscale Bitcoin ETF approval. That would be, I think it would be a benefit to 3AC. I think they have 39 million shares of grayscale. So I don't know if that's, I think, wasn't that like, isn't that like, $13 or something for
each? It's valued at 1.2 billion currently. That they still currently have, minus their stock. I mean, they still have different stocks and companies as well that they can sell off.
Correct. They have equities in numerous different companies. Correct. I think 50 some different companies they've took positions in, or tokens that they've taken positions in. The problem is that those positions are heavily underwater.
Yeah, I mean, but if they have to sell them, sell them, right? If they're selling them for a loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they said 3AC's 40% of their assets under management was crypto, so there's still 60% is where startup companies, stocks, grayscale. I mean, they may be insolvent, but they're still valued at something. They were just like FTX. They were valued at 18 million last quarter. 18 billion. I'm sorry, 18 billion.
Yeah. So was Luna.
Fuck yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, these valuations can go down pretty damn quickly. That's the thing, and they lost a lot of money in their revenge trades that they were putting on, and so they've definitely done some severe damage. Again, who knows that valuation was at a fraud to begin with. That $18 billion value was that based on fraud, because they fake documents. So. But yeah, that grayscale. I think that decision for the ETF is due by July 6th, so that should be just in a couple weeks here, so we'll know about that a little bit more. But yeah, that's. Obviously, it would be big because they can get that money out of there, and I don't know if it's going to take some time though. I think for that to reach down to Voyager though. That's for sure. I mean, there's other people in line to get money back from them. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It would just be nice to, like I said, if they said, okay, hey, we're